Hello and welcome to the Business Builder mini course. If you are here, that means you are interested in building your own business and you are now going to become a fast forward founder. So, my name's Frank. I'm the creator of Fast Forward Founders, and today we are going to go through the free mini course for my expanded program on how to build your very own B2B distributorship. So what that is, it's selling technical equipment, technology products from different suppliers across the world and then selling them to customers across the world. So the idea for this course is we are going to find out if this type of business could be right for you and if this is something you're interested in pursuing long term. So first we'll jump into the overview here. So what type of course is this? So this is essentially a free mini course of a much larger and comprehensive course that I'll be offering through my school community. So this course will basically run over all of the key concepts that you'll need in order to run your own company. So this course is not a comprehensive, in-depth course. This course that you'll see today will skip over some of the technical aspects, some of the more nitty-gritty aspects, but in my program, you'll have access to that if you choose to go a little bit deeper. So the idea here is just to figure out if this is right for you, if this is something that you want to invest in your time long term. So this course is more for technically minded folks, people who have maybe been in the industry already, their respective industry, maybe a sales engineer or a marketing person or someone who already has a bit of experience selling or training people or doing maintenance on some type of equipment, whatever it might be. However, this course could potentially also work for people who are highly motivated and maybe have done some other type of business in the past. So maybe drop shipping or e-commerce, something like this. If you're looking to sell higher ticket, more expensive items and build a bigger business, this is what this course is all about. So it's all about selling technology products in the B2B landscape. So I have an overview of the chapters here. Essentially, I've taken what is going to be my full week-long modules and broken them down into chapters. So if all goes well here, we'll be able to get through all of this in about 1 hour, and you'll have a good understanding of what it takes to build a business like this. So first and foremost, what is the business model? So what it is, it's a distribution-based business model. Essentially, you are going to be the middleman or middlewoman who is buying the product from the supplier and then selling it to the customer. So you are going to handle the sales, the shipping, the training, the onboarding, basically everything except building the product. So what's nice about this is that it's a very light capital structure. You're not going to have to pay for manufacturing equipment. You're not going to have to invest in a plant. You can essentially start selling high-end, high-technology products overnight. So it's easy to start, and the investment is very, very low. The initial investment is only around $10 or $15, and that's just to start your website for the first month until you start making some sales and making some profit. So literally, your only investment is just your web hosting, and it's going to cost you the price of a fast food meal every month. So very low capital investment and capital structure. It also has a lot of flexibility in this business model. So if something goes wrong with a particular product or industry, you can very quickly pivot to maybe a different supplier or a different product or a different aspect of the industry that you're selling into. So what this does is it makes it extremely low risk. Your risk goes from what I think of as whole company or whole sector risk into just individual deal risk. So each deal that you make with your customer, there's going to be a little bit of risk, like can you get the product? I mean, in business, anything can happen and you need to be prepared for it, not the individual circumstance, but just the idea that some type of disorder is going to come your way and it's going to be up to you to solve it. But the nice thing with this model is that instead of the whole business being at risk at any one point, it's only the individual deal. So if a specific deal with a specific customer falls through, maybe they don't like the product, or the product takes too long to get to you, or even something crazy like the ship that's carrying your product gets stuck at sea and can't deliver for 6 months, right? Like something crazy. These things have actually happened to me. You're still insulated from the larger risk. So just if that deal can go bad, you can move on. You can have 10, 20, 30 other deals in the works. So you just have this individual deal risk. Also, with each deal, you can keep increasing the dollar amount or the type of thing that you're selling and build and essentially sell more and more over time. So the idea is that you're going to be purchasing the product from a supplier, and the best way to do this, the way to get the most margin, is to purchase internationally. So you're essentially going to utilize the $1 trillion infrastructure, which is the current global economy, and you're going to leverage that for your own business. So if this was 200, 300 years ago, even 100 years ago, in order to do this type of thing, get equipment from one side of the world to the other, then to the customer, you had to own a navy, you had to own a monetary system, you literally had to own everything. Now you can just use FedEx, get it shipped over, UPS it to the customer, send a Swift wire out for payment, collect a credit card. Like, it's super, super easy with the internet and with all the tools available to you. So what we're going to be doing is using a universal principle, which I believe in, which is that all the things that exist to help you and create your better future already exist. You just have to start using them. So in this business model, we're going to be using things like banking, shipping, internet, website, YouTube. We're going to use all of these free tools that other people have built for us, and we're going to utilize them to make lots and lots of money. And when I say lots and lots of money, replacing your current income, your current W-2 employment income, and expanding on that by 2x, 5x, 10x over time, and also doing it in a tax advantaged way. So when you own your own business, a lot of purchases that you would make personally, you can expense for the business. So things like your vehicle, it can be a company vehicle, portions of your house, you can get tax credits on those. Things like computers, equipment. So it ends up being a much more tax incentivized way to earn money. Being an employee is one of the worst ways, tax-wise, to earn money, which is why so few rich people, or virtually no rich people, work in W-2 style employment. We're going to get into that a little bit later, but these are just some of the advantages that this business model provides. So first and foremost, to be able to do this type of business, what we need to do is set the foundation. So you need to have an iron mind and an iron body. So the body carries the mind and the mind carries the business. So what you need to do is build the person who then builds the business. So what this requires is an identity shift. You're going to run into a lot of challenges and a lot of issues as you're kind of going through here, and you're going to need to figure out solutions. No one's really going to be able to help you. You're on your own in a lot of these cases. The one person who can help you is myself. So that's the benefit of this whole thing is that you'll have a mentor and you'll have guidance in how to actually do all of this. So I've done all of this personally. I'm currently doing it. I'm active in this industry. So as I run into these challenges, I'll show them. I already show them on my YouTube videos, a lot of my free content, especially my long form content is very, very technical and very, very helpful. So the first thing we need to do is a time audit of your life. We need to look at every single aspect of your life and start gaining back time. So most people, most folks, they don't really view things like watching TV or hang out at the bar or even doing like some like non-relevant hobbies. I call them empty hobbies. If it's not giving you some sort of like mental clarity or something that then you can push into your work, it's not helping you, and it's actually hurting you. So things like following sports teams, you'll see a lot of people that don't have much going on for them. They'll get like really, really invested in these different vices. So you need to start auditing your time and thinking about ways where you're just burning time and thinking about them as true vices. So as bad as doing heavy, heavy drugs, these vices are just the same. So it really doesn't matter if you're doing heroin for 3 hours or watching a football game. It's literally the same outcome. Well, maybe not for your health, but in terms of time, it's the same outcome. So you need to think about these things the same. This is how wealthy people and how business owners look at their time and how they schedule out their day, their week, their month. So what you need to do is a time audit. The way to do this is there's an app called Toggle Track. You can download it. And what I want you to do is for 1 week, track every single place that you're spending your time. So even if it's going to the bathroom, taking a shower, your wake up routine, how long are you spending eating meals? How long are you spending driving to work maybe? How long are you spending at work? How long are you spending at the gym? Make a little category for each thing in the app in Toggle Track. And when you do that activity, hit the timer, it'll start the timer. And then when you go to switch activities, you stop the timer and then switch over to your new activity. So burning an hour on social media, literally anything, you need to track for 1 week your time, and then we're going to look at it and we're going to see where you're spending all your time. So don't worry about the tracker too much. You can always go in and edit your day, so it doesn't need to be like minute to minute, second to second exactly right, but within like 15-minute blocks or 30-minute blocks, you want to know exactly where you're spending your time, because all of this extra time you are going to need to take it and focus it into building the business, especially early on, because you don't have a large amount of money to invest. What you have is time. So you need to pull as much time as you can out of all of these time sucks, out of all of these vices, and you need to bring that into the business. And that's why I'm calling this, or I call this, an identity shift. You really need to change like your core persona if you're serious about this, because if you don't, it won't work. You see every single business owner, even the top billionaires, right? They have a very specific protocol and program. They're not like sitting around all day playing video games and just trying to get that dopamine hit. So do the 1 week tracking exercise and track all of your time, and you want to start eliminating, and this can take years, you want to start eliminating all the bad habits. So when you eliminate the bad habits, what you want to do is fill them with good habits. And the way to build winning habits is to track them. So if you're not tracking, you're slacking. So you need to find ways to track and essentially give yourself credit, almost like get points or gamify the situation when you do something well. So when you go to the gym, You track it. I went to the gym today. When you spend an hour on building your business, hey, I spent an hour building the business. You also want to schedule out your different tasks, but building the winning habits is super important. Things like waking up early, which means going to bed early, uh, honing in on your health and fitness, losing extra pounds, maybe looking into any type of nootropics, things like ginkgo biloba and ginseng and fish oil, and you can even get like much more advanced. I'm actually going to release my protocol. What I do, I take 20 different um, health, physical, um, vitamins and supplements to help me, not just like for my weightlifting and in the gym and things like that, but also to help my work, to give me energy. So if I can get 30 minutes or 1 hour more a day of like peak performance energy, right? Like if I can just get 10% more stuff done, how much is that worth over a lifetime? And remember too, it's like a flywheel. So what you do now may seem tedious, but you're building on the future. So in a year, 5 years, 10 years, you're going to be able to do this much faster, quicker, more efficiently. And what that's going to do is going to increase your earnings rate, increase your earnings per hour, per day, per week, per month, per year. So that's what it's all about, building winning habits. So I have a habit tracker that I use, that I've developed. I call it the vision planner or the vision tracker, because I always want to track and focus on where I'm going. If the things I'm doing, if the things that I'm spending time on aren't getting to me to where I need to go, if they're not like building into my long-term vision, then I need to exclude them from my life. I simply do not have time for anything that doesn't fit into my vision. So this is the mindset that you need to adopt. So I have a few different tools, and I'll show them here. They'll also be available for download in the school community. So the first one I'm going to show is the Business Builder Tracker. And what this is, it's a checklist of different things that you need to do to be able to set up your business. So I have a simple color scheme here, and I have it labeled here in the info key, but essentially like red is you're unaware of the process or what you need to do. You basically have no clue. Maybe you've heard of it, and that's about it. Yellow is you're aware of it. You know what you need to do. You're kind of trained on it. You have a good idea of like the steps you need to take to be able to accomplish the task. You just haven't done it yet. You haven't gotten around to it, or you haven't completed it yet for whatever reason. Green is the task is completed and you're basically online. So the first thing to do is to get Microsoft Office online. So there's actually a free version that you can use as long as you're linked to the internet. So you want to go ahead and sign up and get a login, and it allows you to do Excel, PowerPoint, Word. You can export the Word files to PDF. So it's a great tool to get started with. You can also use Google, like Google Sheets, and they have a Word document and stuff. They have slides. But I don't like it as well as Microsoft. Microsoft is kind of the premier, the premium, and here we have a free online version, so just go with that. And then you can see basically everything else. Setting up your business bank account, making a logo, thinking of a name for your business, setting up the LLC paperwork, which we'll get to later. So this tracker helps you understand all the different things that you need to do, so you're not like 2-3 months into this and realizing like, hey, something I should have set up, I didn't, and it's going to set me back like serious in time. So this tracker is available to you as part of this free course, and it's a great tool to use. All right, so chapter 2, choosing your industry and product. So This is important because this is something you're essentially going to be married to for 5, 10, 20 years if eventually you can make a profitable exit, or you may stay in this for your whole life. So for my business, I've already been doing it 10 years and I'll probably be doing it my whole life. I love it. I love just like getting up. It's basically like a machine shop. I go, I inspect my equipment. I have different testing machines that I run. I make videos. I love getting like a new piece of equipment, figuring out how it works. So pick something that you like. You also want to pick something that you're already knowledgeable about, something maybe you've sold in the past for an employer. Maybe you're selling this product right now. So maybe you're a microscope salesman and you're selling microscopes and you want to start a business doing that. Or you used microscopes in college and you were always kind of fond of them, and maybe now you're doing like something else, but you kind of want to get back into what you're doing in college. So start thinking about what you enjoy doing and what you're passionate about, because you're going to be waking up every morning and essentially just jumping right into this. So if it's not something you love, if it's something you're kind of mediocre about, you'll eventually hate it. You have to love it. You have to feel called by your higher mind. We're getting a little spiritual now, but this is serious. This is how it works. Is you need to feel called or compelled to start this business because it's going to unlock opportunities for your family monetarily. Maybe it's going to unlock your time. You have more time to spend with your kids or your friends or your family. So this is what you want to think about when you're choosing your product. So the great thing is there's tons of stuff to pick from. You can literally look at anything in the economy. Everything is something that needs to be sold. So this specific business model, this international distribution business model, plays very well for things that are sold in a laboratory. So benchtop laboratory equipment. They're sometimes called scientific instruments, but essentially like these technology products. So what I've done is I've compiled a list for you that you can go through and start to think about what you may be interested in selling in your business. So talked about microscopes. That's just something that like everyone kind of knows what it is, right? They cost a few $1,000s. So maybe you buy it for $1,500, sell it for $3,000. That's your very first sale. You just made $1,500. You just covered your whole overhead for the entire year with just one sale. And then from then on, it's just pure profit, pure growth, pure investment. So all sorts of different stuff. You can sell mass spectrometers. DNA sequencers are blowing up right now with the whole like healthcare industry. Like these are very popular. Biomedical, more or less. Well, all sorts of different stuff. So we'll just go through quickly here. Analytical equipment, different X-ray fluorescence machines. So looking at the material analysis of different materials, different substances, all sorts of testing and calibration equipment, universal testing machines, which is what I do, but you can also sell viscometers, colorimeters, stuff into the food industry, biological, molecular biology equipment, cell counters, flow cytometers. This is all stuff that is used in universities, and it's also used in R&D labs and manufacturing labs, manufacturing plants all over the world. That's the thing too, is that you're not geographically constrained with this business model. You can sell into Europe, you can sell into South America, you can sell into Japan. Literally, the possibilities are all there. Everything's on the table. Chemical processing equipment, environmental testing equipment, imaging, measurement, material science, special lab equipment, other type of lab equipment. So what you can do is you can also go into ChatGPT. So that's one thing that you're going to need to get very familiar with, in this whole business building process is ChatGPT, because this is going to be the main way that you, first of all, learn, and then second of all, get ideas. So if you're not familiar with ChatGPT, I highly recommend it. So I'm just going to quickly show you. So you can create a prompt like this. I am starting a business selling DNA sequencers, and I need to think of a name for the business. Please provide me with some examples. Okay, so now it's just going to spit out a bunch of names that you could potentially use for your business. Genomic Edge, right? And then say you don't really know much about the product, or it's new to you, or it's a new product. How does a DNA sequencer work? Boom. In no time, you're going to be an expert on this. What is some of the maintenance required for a DNA sequencer? This is something I literally know nothing about. I just know that it sells. Okay, so they need to be cleaned, they need to be calibrated, they need to check the components, replace the components. That's a revenue stream. So as you're doing this and as you're learning, you're going to want to think of ideas. This is all going to be content ideas, which we'll talk about in the next chapter here. So find what you want to sell, and then I want you to do this exercise. I want you to identify the top 10 competitors in your space. So these, one of them is eventually going to become your supplier partner that's delivering the equipment to you, and then the other ones are going to be your competitors. So you're going to want to get very knowledgeable on what the different competitors are doing, how they're marketing the product. The funny thing is, and the opportunity is that a lot of these companies, the marketing is terrible. They don't have a good content marketing strategy. They're not active on LinkedIn. They're just really not doing it well because they're not incentivized to. The marketing intern that is doing, the blog is not really working that hard. And we both know that, right? So if you can go in and be using ChatGPT and posting like mad and just like building out your business like a crazy person, you're going to have amazing results. And really that's what I did 10 years ago to get started. I was churning this out, and I was doing it all manually. I was typing it out. We didn't have ChatGPT 10 years ago. So that's the thing. This is going to be super easy with the help of these AI tools. So top 10 competitors, think about who could be your supplier partner. We'll talk about how to get the supplier later. Also identify 10 prospective customers that might purchase your equipment. Start to get familiar with what a customer looks like. And then start thinking about a business name, which we already talked about. Okay, so chapter 3, the website launch and the content marketing strategy. So at a very high level, this is going to be how you get leads from the market, and this is going to be the most important part of your business is the marketing. So many businesses over the years have an amazing product. They know how to sell it. The sales team is spectacular, right? But the issue is the marketing is terrible. They just don't get enough leads. They don't tell the world what is so great about the product, and ultimately they fail. So you need to get the marketing right, and that is what you have full control over. So that's the beauty of this distributor model, is that you can 100% control the marketing. So what is the marketing? What is the content marketing strategy? Essentially what you're doing is you're building a website. Your website is the living place where all your content lives and resides. So your YouTube videos, your technical articles, your blogs, your how-to videos, your how-to articles, all the things you're writing, all the pictures of your equipment, you put that all on your website. You essentially want to think of your website as a library, as a resource, and you want to give the knowledge to the customer. When you give knowledge to the customer, you then receive inquiries and leads and business. So it's all about giving and receiving. You want to have a healthy giving and receiving dynamic. And when you do that, that's when you really tap into that like universal power, and you start tapping into that flow, that money flow that's already existing. So these industries, these companies are already out there. You're just tapping into that river of money that's flowing with your net. And what your net is the website. It is your YouTube channel. So we need to master this, and we need to get really good at building instructional, useful, relevant content. No fluff, no just like BS, talking real, like answering the questions that your customers have. And these will come to you over time. They'll actually ask you to directly, like the different questions that they have. And then you just go and you build a new web page talking about accessories for whatever you're selling, talking about like maintenance for whatever you're selling. So the easy way to do this is with ChatGPT, generating the text content. You can also use other tools to make images. There's a lot of AI tools out there that makes this very, very simple. So with your website, what you need to do is you need to be able to rank high on Google. So what that means is when you type in Google search, the specific product that you're looking for, your website pops up like number 1 or number 2, or at least on the first page of 10. If you're not on the first page, it's really not going to work. You need to be driving every day to get to that top spot. And it takes time, takes weeks, takes months. For some keywords that are highly competitive, it can take years, but eventually you will get there. So it's all about having good content. Good content equals retention rate, which basically means people are staying on the site. Their eyeballs are staying locked on the site. That's increasing the site or the session time per user. So they're spending a minute on your site, 2 minutes on your site, 3 minutes on your site. That means the site is really good, and that is going to increase your ranking over time. So I just want to show you quickly what a search ranking looks like and how this actually works in my business specifically, and how it's going to work in your business. Okay, so I have a Google search here, and something that I sell personally is a product called tensile testing grips. So I type that into Google, and what you'll see immediately is my Google ad. So I have a slightly different view because I have like the Google and the Google search and everything and the ads. So my ad pops up usually number 1 or number 2. You can see sponsored. So these are other ads from my competitors. So this company is actually my competitor. This is my website here, popping up on Google right away. Number 1, number 2. So now we're getting into the organic. You see a remove sponsored. So organic means just like what Google thinks is the very best search query, the very best search result for you without any like paid promotion. So this company, Instron, is the number 1 in the industry. And then if we go down, this is me, number 2. So for this search term, I check this one like religiously almost every day with a tool. It's called SERP Tracker, and you can get it for your phone. It'll basically run these searches for you and show you where you're ranking. But just to show you what this looks like in real life, I'll bounce from here to here, like between 1 and 2 pretty often. And then if you just click this, right, it goes right to my website. They can click what they want. Once they find something they want, they can call me or they can click contact us. They fill this out, and then this goes straight to my phone, straight to my email, and I start interacting with them. So that's how the lead generation works. I also have a YouTube channel. I also have images on my website. So if I go to image search and I start looking, I'll find some images that are from my website. So this one is from my website, Universal Grip Company. And then if I go to videos, there should be some from my YouTube channel. Yeah, right here. How to remove and install wedge grip jaws on tensile testing machines. And then there's another one. So YouTube works very well with this strategy because Google is the number one search, and then Google owns YouTube, and YouTube is the number two search engine in the world. So a lot of people, what they do is they just go straight to YouTube and they'll just search on YouTube. So part of this strategy is developing a YouTube channel. So the exercise for this chapter, we want to go ahead and launch the website. I won't get into too much detail on how to do that. It's beyond the scope of this free mini course, but I go into this fully in my full program. So the website builder that I use is Wix. Very easy to use. If you know how to make a PowerPoint slide, it's very similar to that. So Wix or WordPress, or there's other ones like Squarespace, all of these can work well. You want to start with a 5-page like basic site. So your homepage, about us, contact page, a product page, and maybe like one or two other pages. Maybe like a industry page or technical content page, something that's like more instructional in nature and less product focused. And then of course the product page, which is important. So your website is like your digital real estate. It's like your spider web. So this is going to be working day and night while you're sleeping, collecting leads. So leads are going to fly into your spider web. Leads are going to fly into your spider web. As people search for the products that you're talking about on your website, on your YouTube, people are going to come to you, and they're going to hit your contact us button. They're going to fill out a little form. They're going to send you an email, and that's how you get started. So launch the website. Then you want to download SERP Tracker, which is a app on your phone. You can basically just type in a bunch of searches, and then it will tell you where your website is ranking. You want to download and link Google Analytics to your website. I'm going to release videos on how to do this, probably in my free content, but may also be in the paid program. You can check my YouTube video. A lot of how to do these individual functions I release as free content on my YouTube channel. So go and check out Frank Fast Forward on YouTube. Use SEMrush. So this is a website, and it's great for keyword research. You can go do competitive research on your competitors and start to find out like how they're talking about their products. And again, you just need to do it 5 or 10% better than they're doing it. And you have the use of ChatGPT, which most people aren't even using yet. They're still like in the old archaic version of how to do marketing. And you want to aim for that number one rank. That number one rank is worth money, worth like tens of thousands of dollars per keyword. It's literally like digital real estate. It's the same thing. Start your YouTube channel, and then start your other socials, your LinkedIn personal page, your business page. If you go back to the tracker, which is that Excel document with the red, green, yellow, I have a lot of like different things that you need to start. But for this chapter, the big thing is starting the website. So your website is going to hold everything that you make. So your videos, your social media, your calls, your phone number for the business, your lead nurturing. People are going to come back to your website. The big thing with the website is people are searching. Great thing is data sheets, PDFs of the product. People love those. That's what they're looking for. So say they have a meeting, and this is how it actually works at the companies. They have a meeting and they say, we need to buy a microscope. So they go online and type in microscope, and your stuff needs to pop up like number one. But what you can do is you can focus on long tail keywords like microscope for looking at metallography samples, which is basically like cut pieces of metal underneath the microscope so you can look at the grain structure of the metal, of the steel or iron or whatever they're making. So they'll type in that long search, and that's what you want to target first, is those long tail keywords, they're called. It's just a long search. And then maybe you made an article all about how to use microscopes for metallography. So you get that click. Now they're on your website. Now they're looking for a product to do this. So they go all the way down to the bottom, and then you have your product PDF page right there, ready to go. They click on it, and boom, they have all the technical information, they have your contact information, all in like a 1 or 2 page PDF. It's just like a squirrel trying to find a nut. They're like searching around, looking. Once they find the nut, which is your PDF cut sheet, which lives on your website, boom, they're done. And Google actually recognizes this too in the way they do their Google Spider, which is their like basically search monitoring program. They'll see that the person who was searching for stuff stopped searching after they went to your website, which usually gives you a positive ranking in the algorithm and it bumps you up. So that's just one little tip. There's hundreds of tips on SEO and how to be good at SEO. I post a lot of them on my YouTube channel, and they'll also be in the longer course. Again, the structure of your website should be like this hub and spoke model. So your homepage has everything, like all your products, and then people can go into the product categories, and then people can go into the individual products. So they can dig like deeper and deeper into the deeper layers. You want to structure it like a library or like a wiki, like a database. And then say they go like really deep into a specific product, but this product kind of links to this product, but it's in a different product category. So you just have like a direct link. So that's what these nodes are too. So you're linking the pages to each other. And when I say linking, you just make like a little hyperlink or little button on your web page, which says like, oh, if you're looking at microscopes, you're going to also need microscope slides. So if you need microscope slides, click here. So you can bounce right over rather than going back out to the main page, then back again deep. So you want to think about how the customer is navigating your website and think about it like this hub and spoke model with these different nodes, which are the different product categories, and then how these product categories interact with each other and are relevant to each other. All right, chapter 4, productization and finding a supplier. So what is productization? What this is breaking down your product theme. So again, maybe it's microscopes or DNA sequences or something else, breaking it into small chunks, small consumable nuggets that your customer can digest. So if it's microscopes, you'll have a section on compatible lenses, maybe like high magnification lenses, medium magnification lenses, low magnification lenses, right? So now you took microscopes, split it into lenses, then you split lenses into 3 different categories. And then once you get to there, you have your high magnification lenses, and maybe you have 5 or 6 different options for that. And then your medium magnification lenses, you have 5 or 6 different options for that. So that is what I mean by productization. You want to take this concept, which is your product, which is just like very big idea, and you want to break it down and structure it so it's easy to navigate, easy to digest, easy to learn, and easy to find your specific product that the customer is looking for. So this will come to you over time. You'll maybe have like different versions of how you're thinking about the categories of your products, but basically productization is like categorization. How am I categorizing the main product, which is the microscope, into different line items? So you have like the microscope base, the lens, the lighting, the slides, right? So you want to have all these different things in different parts of your website. You can't just be all on one page, right? You need to space it out in a coherent way, and this will help you rank on Google because the content which is structured well keeps the eyeballs. People can find what they're looking for. They can navigate your website easily. They'll come back to it. So one thing that's important is you want to build as you learn. So don't be afraid of the fact that you don't know everything. When you learn something, and you can use ChatGPT to learn, or you can be like reading industry articles or reading what your competitors are doing. Once you start learning stuff, immediately go and post that to your website, post a technical article. it's going to be the best time to do it because you're thinking about it exactly as a novice is thinking about it. So you're in that mindset, that mind frame of like learning and how to like digest this stuff. So if you look at it as an expert, it's sometimes worse because you can't easily explain the concepts to someone who's a novice because like you're overlooking the basics. You're just going to like these high level facts and features, and you're getting like way too in the weeds, way too technical with it, when really what's best is you just want it to be like um, very easy, very digestible. You want to make it so like a seventh or eighth grader can learn about what you're talking about. All right. And then one of the most important things is finding a supplier. So again, don't worry about this. You're not going to have a supplier to begin with, right? No one does. So what you do is you need to start building first using generic images, content, content that you find online, maybe taking pictures that don't have branding and editing them a little bit, flipping them, which is a good technique. And then you want to start talking about it in a different way. Like just make it very beginner focused and very basic with your content to start. And then start putting in some product pages, like generic product pages. It doesn't have to be a specific actual product. Once you start doing that for a couple weeks, you'll start getting people to your website. You'll start getting some real inquiries about this, especially if you do it right. If you have like good information and it's structured well, like no typos, good color scheme, like your website looks good, you'll start getting inquiries. Once you start getting inquiries, it's time to find a supplier. So what you need to do is you need to social engineer this a little bit. You need to say, hey, you need to call up some of the salespeople that work for these OEMs or for these suppliers that you want to work with, and you start saying like, hey, we're already working with your competitor X, and we're having a little bit of trouble getting the products. Like the delivery times are really slow. Would you be open to having a conversation about us being a distributor in our territory? And the way this works best is internationally. So if you're in the US, sourcing things from Europe, because your product is now going to be unique in the territory. So selling, for instance, like high-end German microscopes in the United States, people aren't going to be able to get that microscope very easily. There's going to be a lot of friction for them to get it easily. So for them to get it, they're going to have to send a wire to the supplier. They're going to have to like get set up with them and do the shipping and everything. When you're in the domestic market that you're selling into, you do all the shipping, you send the wire, you get the product here, and then you basically just drop ship it to them. They don't have to do anything except pay you. So that is why and how you're making money. And that's how you're making your margin, is because you're doing all this difficult stuff to get them this like really high-end piece of technology from Austria or from France or somewhere. You're doing all of the hard work with the import, working with customs, and it's really like not that hard. And I'm going to go over it here, some in this course and then also in the more in-depth course. But the shipping and the import-export, you're doing all that. So you're building all of that margin. So if you just were a salesperson at one of these companies, maybe you earn 5% margin. Maybe, right? Maybe you earn like 1 or 2% margin. But when you own the whole company, when you're the distributor, you're getting 20, 25%, 30, 35% margin. You can even get like 50% margin in some cases in some product categories. So that's another thing too, is you want to focus on the products that you're getting the most margin. So get the supplier. You usually don't need a like supply agreement. People like to get like really too official with this stuff. You really just need a handshake agreement and then a price list. So the price list is the most important thing. What it is, it's going to be the list of all the products that they offer you, and then their suggested selling price, and then your buying price. And you'll usually see the margin difference there. And it'll be like all the stuff you need. So again, going back to microscopes, it'll be like the base, and you can get all these different base options, and then they can connect to all these different lenses, and there'll be like hundreds of different lens options, and you like can pick and choose. You want to just start with the popular products that sell the most, just to get some practice, and also like these are the most popular. And then one other thing, one low risk way, actually I'll talk about this in chapter 5, but the thing is, if you focus or just start with accessories, it's a small dollar amount, it's lower risk, much faster sales cycle, and it's a good way to get started. So the exercise for chapter 4 is basically get a supplier and start thinking about productization. All right, chapter 5, sales training and closing your first deal. So what is a sale? At the very basic nature of it, it's delivering value. So if you've never been in sales before, don't worry. A lot of people think it's scary or it has these like, bad connotations with it, like used car salesman and pushy sales guys, stuff like that. It's really not like that, especially when you build the business in this way where you're collecting inbound leads from internet traffic. So essentially all you need to do is find out what the customer is looking for, what problems they have. Usually they'll be pretty direct. They'll say like, I want to buy this microscope lens. How much is it, right? So then all you need to do is like send them a quote, and if the price is good, the delivery terms are good, they're going to buy it. They're going to ask you, can I buy this with a credit card? Can I send you a purchase order? So a great way to start is starting small with accessories, because there's less deal risk and it's an easier decision-making process. They usually don't need to like check with their boss or have this whole long like purchasing process. They usually can buy it that day or within a few days. Pricing. So you want to mark up your product 50 to 100% of your buying price. So if you buy it for $100, you want to try to sell it for $200, but it doesn't have to be, right there. You can sell it for 180, 170, wherever you feel comfortable with. And you can even sell low margin just to get some practice, or if you're kind of hurting for business. But this is a little bit of a double-edged sword, because you don't want to go too low on margin, because you also need to factor in your time and the fact that your time is worth money. So you don't want to go too low on margin, obviously, but 50 to 100%, this is a good rule of thumb, and this is what most companies are getting. Quoting. So I use this tool called FreshBooks. It's very similar to QuickBooks, or you can just use like a quote template off Microsoft Word, very simple. But essentially what a quote is, it shows the different line items, and you can have the purchase price, and you send that to the customer. It's almost like a menu where a customer can see the price, and then they can make purchasing decisions based on your quote. So the exercise for this chapter, you want to learn the 5 steps of the golden sales call. So I have a free YouTube video on my YouTube channel. So if you just search exactly this, learn just the golden sales call, in parentheses 5 steps, it should show up, or you can just go to Frank Fast Forward YouTube channel and you'll find it. So the thing with sales is you don't really want even to focus on sales that much, especially in the beginning. What you want to focus on is lead generation. And what lead generation is, again, is the SEO and the building of the website, the building of the YouTube, getting the search, getting the traffic in to see your products. That's going to be most important. So you're going to always want to be expanding your website and expanding and increasing the traffic. Lead generation is 1,000% more important in sales. So if you've been in sales for many years, this is going to be kind of like a mind shift for you, because you're focused a lot on like increasing the likelihood or the percentage that they'll win. Like so say you get 3 leads, and your win rate percentage, what I meant to say your win rate percentage is 33%. So 1 out of every 3 leads you win. And as a salesperson, you're going to want to try to be increasing that win rate to say 40% or 50%. So every 4 leads out of 10, you end up winning. But as a business owner, it's a little different. What you want to focus on is what's most important. And what's most important is just getting more leads. So instead of focusing like really minutely on those 3 leads and really trying to close that extra lead, just go out and get 3 more leads. So instead of 3 leads, get 6 leads. Instead of 6 leads, get 12. And don't really worry so much about the sales, and don't spend too much time on the sales. Look for customers who are looking to buy, quote them, and just keep moving on, and focus on lead generation. Just get more leads. It's that simple. All right. Chapter 6 is corporate structure and operations setup. So after you start getting your first inquiries and even your first sales, you're going to want to start setting up the legal entity and the legal structure for your business. So there's a few different routes you can go. You can consult a tax professional. I am not one, so I can't say. I'm also not a legal professional or anything like that. So I don't know what's best for you, best for your financial situation, but just overall, very high level, you want to separate the business from your personal assets, and the way you do that is through either an LLC or a sole proprietorship. Maybe you have different partners. It's not so important at the start. What's important at the start is just getting some leads and getting like the whole machine working. Once it starts working, then you start thinking about your legal entity structure. An LLC is usually the one that most people go with. You also want to set up a business bank account, business checking. Usually this requires a legal business, and each state is a little bit different, and sometimes there's kind of like a little bit of a song and dance between setting up the banking, checking account, setting up the entity structure, getting your W-9, which essentially has your TIN number, your taxpayer number, which is different than your social security number. So your W-9 is basically your information sheet for your business. Has your business address, your TIN or your EIN, and a few other like basic information. So these 3 things kind of are all related, but they're all a little bit different. But basically this is like the entity structure for your business. You're also going to want a business address. You can use your house or apartment, or you can get a PO box. Some landlords will also let you use their address and like just rent you like a mailbox at their location. So if you've seen some of these business parks where they'll have like 8 or 10 different businesses, sometimes they'll have like a big mailbox with a lot of different compartments. So maybe they only have like 10 businesses there, but they'll have like 20 mailboxes, and sometimes you can go just like rent a singular mailbox. You don't really need to do this until you start getting a little bit bigger. Start thinking about a location for your business, but you can use your house. It's fine. It's not that big of a deal. You can also use a different address. Try to be strategic about your business address, and then accounting software. So I recommend FreshBooks because it can send quotes, send invoices. It can also handle payments through Stripe and send the money straight to your business checking account. So FreshBooks is great. There's a free version to start. You can kind of scale into it. Very low cost. I can't say enough good things about it. I don't have an affiliate link or anything like that, but I've used it for 10 years and have never had an issue. It does everything I need it to do and more. All right, so the exercise for Chapter 6 is to use the Fast Forward Founders checklist and start going through the checklist and setting up these different structures for your business. Chapter 7, order processing, fulfillment, and payment. So, good news. You've received your first purchase order. You actually sold something. Now what? So, chances are you sent the quote to the customer and they're like, yeah, I want to buy this. Can you send me a credit card link so I can purchase this online? Or I'll send you a purchase order. So when they send you a purchase order, basically it's a document, a legal document saying, hey, we want to buy this item according to this quote. Here's the item, here's the price. Usually it's signed, usually has like some other info like business address. So that's what a purchase order is. Won't get into it too much here. But once you get that, that means it's like a firm order and you're ready to start the fulfillment process, which just means delivering the product to the customer. So first, what you're going to need to do is place the order with your supplier. So when the customer sends you their purchase order, you then need to send your own purchase order to your supplier. It's not the same thing. You need to generate your own new purchase order. So you can use a purchase order template. I'll have one in the school community linked, just a basic one from Word that you can then save as PDF and send that off. But your purchase order to the supplier is placed, then the supplier is going to be like, okay, here's the invoice, which is the basically the bill that you then pay. So you pay the invoice by sending a Swift wire transfer. So Swift is just the international wire transfer. So in this business model, it's best if you are buying from another country because you can exploit the foreign exchange rate, you can exploit the shipping and the import export and all that friction from importing something overseas. Friction equals margin. So you'll send the payment to your supplier. They'll then ship you the product. They'll ship the product to your location, and when you're shipping international, it's very similar to shipping domestic, except there's one other important document, which is the commercial invoice. This is basically the document which is telling customs, telling the country officials in the Customs Bureau what is in the package. So say it's a microscope, there's a specific harmonized tax code called an HTS code, and it'll be the specific code for microscopes. You can Google what the HTS code is for your specific product. So it has that. It says how many quantity of items are in the package, and then also like the value of the package, and that's how they determine the tariff rate, or if there's a tax rate or an import fee for that specific item. Then that's where that gets applied. So that's what the commercial invoice is for. It's for telling customs what it exactly is that you're selling. So your supplier will usually help you with how to get the product to you. Just tell them like, hey, I'm not familiar with this specific product. Can you help me? Can you recommend like a shipment? Can I just pay you for shipment? If you don't have your own UPS or FedEx account, you can just have them bill on their account and invoice you the cost for shipping. And again, you build all of that into the end selling price for your item. So when you're first starting, you want to avoid freight shipments. So freight shipments are the big shipments that come either air freight or overseas. They have to get delivered with a big 18-wheeler truck. They're very heavy. They need to be moved with a forklift or something like that. It's just much more complex. When you start getting into this, definitely start getting into freight, but in the beginning it's just too complex. Just stick with smaller items that can fit in size like a regular package or parcel service. So avoid freight shipments to start. Stick with parcel service. Once you receive the item, what you want to do is you want to unpack it and inspect it and make sure it's not damaged or anything. Make sure it's exactly what you ordered, exactly what the customer ordered, so that they'll accept it and there's not going to be any issues. And then you'll also have a few days in between. Use this time to make educational content, pictures and videos of the product. So this is huge because this is where you're starting to generate your own content and start generating your own authority. So say it is that microscope again, you do like a little beginner episode on like how to focus the lens and how to put it all together and how to do everything. You can make like 10 or 20 videos the first time, and then just keep coming up with ideas. Your customers will ask you questions. Take those questions, answer them like on the email, but then go ahead and make a YouTube video. And then if you get that question again in the future, you can just send the video. So it saves you time. You're also collecting traffic. You're maybe getting new leads. So it's a great way of building content ideas. So when you get the item, you can use it for a couple of days to make some content. Then you want to repack it, pack it really well. I'll do a packing video on my YouTube on how I pack, and then ship it to the customer. Make a shipping label. After you ship it to the customer, you're going to want to send a final invoice to your customer for the payment. So again, the invoice is basically just the bill. You tell them, hey, according to your purchase order, you ordered one microscope for $3,000. Here's the invoice, one microscope, $3,000. Please send the check to the address on the invoice. Boom. And again, FreshBooks is great for this because it includes the credit card payment. You can just send a link to them, which is all handled by Stripe, and the money goes straight into your bank account. Or they can send you a check, or they can send you an ACH payment where essentially you send them your bank account and routing number, and they just wire it right into your bank account. Chapter 8. Okay, so you've completed your first sales cycle and made a little bit of money. Now what? What's next? So leads are the most important thing. If you ask any business owner at any stage of their business, they're going to ask you, or you're going to ask them, what do you need? What's important? They're just going to say more leads. Everyone, any business owner, anytime, they want more leads. So just focus on lead generation. That's going to be the most important thing. Remember, better content equals better SEO and search rankings, and that is going to be how you build from scratch your leads. These leads are they're going to appear out of nowhere. Again, you're plugging into the existing traffic flow and business flow that's already out there. Keep expanding your website, keep expanding your product offerings, maybe sign on a new supplier, try to get a better deal, try to get like some good deals on some microscope lenses or some accessories, or maybe build like a sister product line which is relevant. Like say everyone buys microscopes, but then right next to the microscope they have some other tool like the DNA sequencer, right? Or like some sort of like biological device that's doing something. So look out for things and products that customers of yours would likely buy and expand that into your website. Focus on major bottlenecks. And the big thing that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with is just letting the small fires burn. So don't worry so much about every little thing. Don't spend like 2 hours trying to fix like the color of your branding on your logo. Just post it. You want to focus on the 80-20 rule. Get it 80% done, post it. If you do 5 things at 80% versus one thing at 100%, do those 5 things. Of course, there's a balance. Of course, there's a time to be a perfectionist. But in general, when you're building the business, when you're the founder, you want to just get it working. That's the standard you're trying to get to. Does it work? Yes. Okay, move on. So once your organic content is converting well, you're getting maybe a couple leads per day and you're starting to make money, you're starting to make like a real income, that's when you want to start thinking about Google AdWords. So what Google AdWords is, it's the sponsored links at the top of the Google search that you have to pay for. It's the pay per click. So each time someone clicks on that, you spend $1 or $2. But say for every 10 people that click on it, one person ends up becoming a customer. And you want to start loosely determining what your cost of acquisition is. Your CAC, your CAC, cost of acquiring a customer. So in that example, if the click costs $2, and 10 clicks then, or 10 different people coming to the website is $20, but one of those people buys something, I want to make sure that I'm making at least $20 of profit from them. But that's just to break even. Ideally, you want it to be like a 10-to-1 ratio. So you want to make like $200 per customer, and it costs you maybe $20 to acquire that customer. And what it is, it's a sliding scale. So the more you invest in Google AdWords and buy up more of that traffic and more of those clicks, your CAC to profit ratio goes down. So I talked about 10 to 1, you make $200, but you're spending $20. Maybe to get that incremental next $200, you need to spend $30. And to get that next $200 in sales, you need to spend $40. Eventually, there's kind of like crossover where it's not profitable or not really like realistic. These are some of the things that you'll be experimenting with as a more senior business owner. But for now, just focus on making good content and getting those first few leads in and starting to understand the mechanisms of buying, selling, quoting, invoicing, all these different kind of pieces that need to work. Another big thing similar to the Google AdWords is buying back your time, both in your daily life but also your business life. So think about hiring a virtual executive assistant. You can also hire a virtual marketing person and start sourcing out personal daily chores like around your house, like cleaning, if you can find someone to do cooking, or if you can just eat at Chipotle or something like that. That's a great way to save time. And when you save time, you can then go earn that time. So if you're making $20 an hour and you can pay someone $10 an hour to do your laundry, or you can send it or drive it up to a laundry service, you're making the difference there. You're making that $10 incremental difference, and then you can use that. So it's not as important when you're only making $20 an hour, but if you're making $200 an hour, doing that laundry starts getting really, really expensive. Driving to go do those errands starts getting really, really expensive. And when you have costs, like costs of your business, you need to be making $200. So when you make the $200, your business might be costing you $100 an hour. So you really can't afford to then go like do laundry, because then you're going to be in the red and you're going to start falling behind. So this concept of opportunity cost, buying back your time, this is something that separates the good from the great. People that struggle in business and never have time and are always stressed versus people who are rich in time, money, they have time to spend with their family, they have time to relax. This buying back your time concept is huge. And then focus on revenue generating activities only. And what that is, it's marketing first, and then sales, and then operations. So focus on just getting more leads, especially in the first few years. A lot isn't going to be happening like on the sales and operations side. Yeah, you'll get a lead, you'll get an order, you'll process the order, you'll ship it. After you're in this for a few years, you'll get like 20 orders, and then like the shipping is like you're going to want to hire someone to help you do the shipping. You'll do like a shipping day, so maybe you hire someone like part-time, come over your house, you pay them like $100. Let's do some shipping, let's get all this out of the way. But in the early stages, it's going to be all marketing. It's going to be a huge investment in getting the marketing right and getting the leads machine working. Once that leads machine is working, everything else will fall into place. All right, congratulations. So you have made it through the Business Builder free mini course. So this course, again, is just a short summary of my more comprehensive 8-week-long program. So if you think this type of business is interesting to you, you think it could be right for you, you think this is something you could actually do, not just for a week or a month, but for, we'll call it like at least 5 years, because that's how long it takes to get the business to a place where it's healthy and stable. And then that's when you can start to think about selling it or moving on to something else, or think about like long-term 10, 20, 30 years, start thinking about succession, maybe like your kids or someone else taking over the business eventually. But that's not what this course is about. This course is about starting and building, going from 0 to 1. So if you think that that is something for you, I'd highly recommend joining the school community and then also staying in touch. So I put my email here, frank@fastforwardfounders.com. That's also my website. Also stay in touch on the socials. So I'm on a lot of the major social platforms, LinkedIn, Instagram. LinkedIn's probably the biggest one for me. YouTube also is huge. but most of the action is going to be happening in the school community. That's where you'll have access to all the resources, all of the courses, and everything is going to be in the school. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. Thanks for completing the course. This is day 1, night 1, hour 1 of the rest of your life.